If you interviewed 500 of the richest people on Earth and wrote down the secrets that made them successful, you'd end up with this book, Think and Grow Rich. Written in 1937 by Napoleon Hill, it remains, to this day, one of the most influential books for building wealth. In this video, I will be doing a detailed summary of all the chapters so you can learn how to apply the same principles in your own life. Principle number 1, desire. Be clear about what you want. A long time ago, there was a young man named Edwin Barnes. There was nothing special about him. No money, no rich family, no connections. But he had one thing, a burning desire. He set his mind to work with Thomas Edison, not for him as an employee, but with him as a partner. Now, here's the problem. Barnes didn't know Edison. Imagine you want to work with Elon Musk, but you don't know anyone who knows him directly. He also didn't have the money to buy a train ticket to see him. Most people would have given up right there. But not Barnes. He jumped on a cargo train, free ride, and finally met Edison at his office. Edison later said Barnes looked like a messy guy that day, but he also saw something in Barnes's eyes. Determination. As if you could tell, this one's serious. So he gave him a shot. Just not as a partner, but a small, low-paying job, doing unimportant work that Edison didn't care much about. But that didn't matter to him. Barnes just wanted to stay close to Edison, so when the right moment came, he'd be ready. Months and years went by. Barnes's desire to work with Edison was big, but still, nothing happened. Only after 5 years, Barnes finally saw his chance. Edison put out a new invention. It was a voice recorder called the Edison dictating machine. The salesman thought it couldn't be sold. They were not interested in it. So Barnes convinced Edison to let him sell it. And sell it he did. He sold so well that Edison gave him the contract to sell it nationwide. And that's how Barnes finally became Edison's partner and a millionaire. So what made Barnes different? He was clear, crystal clear. He didn't say, I want a job or I want to make money. He said, I want to be Edison's partner. That's what Hill calls a definite purpose. A goal that is so clear and strong that you won't stop until you achieve it. So here's my question for you. What exactly do you want? I know you want to be rich, but how much do you want? Hill gives these 6 simple steps. Number 1, decide the exact amount of money you want, not more money, but a real number. Number 2, decide what you'll give in return. What service or product will you offer? If you don't know, leave this for now. Number 3, set a deadline. When do you want to hit this goal? Number 4, make a plan. Even if it's rough, start now. Number 5, write it all down. Number 6, read it out loud every morning and night. Picture it like it's already yours. Here's an example. By January 2026, I'll have $50,000 saved. I'll earn it by building my business to $10,000 a month. In return, I'll serve my clients the best I can through my digital marketing agency. Principle number 2, faith. Believe you can get it. A long time ago, Hill had a newborn son, born without ears. The doctor said he'd never hear or speak, but Hill refused to accept that. In his mind, his son would hear and speak. So he reminded himself every day that his son should not be a deaf mute. But his desire alone was not enough. Hill knew he had to plant the same belief into his boy's mind. But how? His son couldn't hear. However, one day, Hill discovered something. His son could hear him when he spoke with his lips touching the area where his ear should be. The boy even tried to speak. Hill was very happy with that progress. Knowing his son could now hear him, Hill began telling him bedtime stories. He created those stories to spark in him the desire to listen and speak like a normal person. There was one story he told again and again, each time with fresh and dramatic detail. It was designed to plant one idea in his son's mind that his condition wasn't a problem. It was an asset. Now, here's a challenge. From all his research, Hill knew that every problem had a hidden opportunity. Yet he still had no idea how his son's deafness could be an asset. But he kept telling the story anyway. Look, Hill never sent his son to a special school. He was determined that his son would live a normal life. He also didn't let him learn sign language. In class, he could hear his teachers only when they shouted, at close range. Fast forward, he turned 18, and here's what happened. In his last week of college, someone gave him a new hearing device to try. He placed it on his head, hooked the battery, and for the first time in his life, he could hear clearly. He rushed to the telephone, called his mother, and heard her voice perfectly for the first time. He could hear his professors in class without them shouting. He could hear the radio. And here's the best part. Remember Hill's message in those bedtime stories where his disability could be an asset? And that's exactly what happened next. He wrote a letter to the hearing aid manufacturer describing his experiences. They then invited him to the factory. While there, he realized he could help millions of deaf people. After that, he spent a month researching and created a 2-year marketing plan. He presented it to the company, and they hired him immediately. And it was through his work he brought hope and hearing to thousands of deaf people. And that's how his disability became his asset. But the story doesn't stop there. Now, here's the most incredible part of all. After all of these events, a doctor examined him again. X-rays showed there was no physical opening from where his ears should be to his brain. Medically, he shouldn't have been able to hear at all. From this, Hill realized that nothing is impossible when desire is backed by faith. So here comes the question. How can you plant that kind of faith in your own mind that you can get the money you want? Hill says your mind believes whatever you tell it over and over, even if it's a lie. So repeat your affirmation from Principle 1 every morning and night with the feeling you've already achieved it. And if you're wondering how to feel like you've already achieved it when it seems impossible, that's what we'll cover in the next principle. Principle number 3, autosuggestion. In the last lesson, we talked about Napoleon Hill's son, how he eventually learned to hear. Let me explain to you how that impossible thing became possible. Hill was using something he later called autosuggestion. Now, that's just a fancy way of saying you tell your mind what to believe until it believes it. With his son, Hill did it through bedtime stories. He'd paint pictures of a life where the boy could hear and speak like anyone else. He spoke as if it were already true. He repeated it every night, always with feeling. Here's why it works. Your subconscious mind doesn't argue with you. It doesn't need proof. It just listens. If you keep feeding it the same message with feeling, it eventually accepts it as truth. Think of your subconscious like a garden. What you plant grows. But if you don't plant anything, weeds will grow. Those weeds are the negative thoughts. In Hill's case, if he hadn't planted those positive ideas, his son would have grown up believing he could never hear. So, here's what you can do. Don't just read your affirmation. You need to feel it. See yourself already having that money and delivering your service or selling your product. For example, when I set the goal of earning $10,000 a month, I bought a fake $10,000 stack and kept it on my desk. That way I could literally see and feel the money every day. Don't worry about having the perfect plan up front. Your job isn't to figure out how you'll get there. It's to get crystal clear on what you want and fully feel the end result, the money in your hands, the goal already achieved. The how will unfold naturally. Your subconscious will supply the plan, often as sudden flashes of inspiration. When those ideas appear, respect them and act on them immediately. Principle number 4, specialized knowledge. Learn what matters. You probably know Henry Ford, the founder of Ford Car Company. You might think a car founder must be a smart guy, like Elon Musk, the founder of Tesla, who also understands rocket technology. But Ford didn't even finish school, and he still managed to build one of the most successful companies in America. During World War I, a newspaper called him uneducated. Ford sued them, and the case went to court. In the trial, the newspaper's lawyers tried to prove that Henry Ford was really stupid. So they asked questions like, who was Benedict Arnold? How many soldiers did the British send over to America to put down the rebellion of 1776? Ford didn't know the answers and got tired of those questions. Finally, he said, if I really wanted to answer the foolish questions, let me remind you that I have a row of electric push buttons on my desk. By pressing the right one, I can pick one of my assistants to answer any question about my business. The only thing where I put all my efforts into. Why should I clutter up my mind with general knowledge when I have people around me who can supply any knowledge I need? And that statement shut them up. Ford wasn't stupid. He was focused. He was smart about what not to learn. His focus was only on the specialized knowledge that mattered for his car business. And he hired people who knew more than he did to run the business. The key takeaway here is this: general knowledge won't make you rich. Wealth comes from finding the specific knowledge that matters and then acting on it. Don't try to know everything. Get clear on the exact knowledge that moves you closer to your goal and go deep. Principle number 5, imagination. Picture your success. Think about it for a second. Everything around you started as an idea in someone's mind. The phone in your pocket, the chair you're sitting on, even the house you live in. It all began with imagination. Imagination isn't just daydreaming. It's the ability to see something in your mind before it exists in reality. That's what entrepreneurs, inventors, and creators do. They see the result first and then figure out how to make it real. So, how does this apply to you? If your goal is to build a business, don't just focus on the grind of getting there. Close your eyes and actually imagine it. Your product in people's hands. Customers say thanks to you. Money flowing into your account. Picture it so clearly, it feels real. Here's why this matters. Your brain starts working differently when you imagine success. You begin noticing opportunities, making connections, and taking actions that line up with that vision. Imagination is like a muscle. The more vividly you picture your success, the faster your mind will figure out how to make it happen. Principle number 6, organized planning. Make a plan and take action. There was once a young preacher and an educator named Dr. Frank Gonzalez. He saw serious flaws in the education system. So he had one mission: to build a college where young people could learn practical skills and develop their minds. And to build that college, he needed $1 million. And here's the problem. He had no money, no land, no rich friends, just a big idea. But he had the desire. He had the faith he could build it. And he'd already imagined his college. But for 2 years, nothing happened. Then one day he said, the time had come for action. I need to get that 1 million in a week. The moment he set that deadline, something lit up inside him. He finally came out with a plan instead of just wishing. So here's what he did. He called the newspapers and announced that he would give a lecture with the title, What Would I Do If I Had $1 Million? He then prepared that sermon immediately. When he finished writing, he went to bed imagining himself already owning that million. The next morning, he woke up early and prayed, with feeling he would get the money. When he preached, he spoke with all his heart and soul, describing the college with such vivid detail that you could almost see it. Then, when he finished, a man approached him and said, I like what you just described. I believe you can do everything you said you would. Come to my office tomorrow. I will give you the $1 million. And with that money, Dr. Gonzalez finally built the college. Look, Hill says desire is your spark, but without a plan, nothing happens. So here's what to do. Start making a plan for your goal. Break it down, set deadlines, and get moving. Now, what if the plan fails? That's not the end. That's just a temporary defeat, not a permanent failure. Hill says it's a signal to adjust the plan and keep going. Remember this: rich people plan, Poor people just hope. So, make your plan. Take action. And if it doesn't work, simple. Make a new plan. Principle number 7, decision. Make decisions and stick to them. Let's go back to the Henry Ford story. Back in 1908, he launched the Model T. It was boxy, basic, and cheap. And for more than 10 years, it dominated the market. By the early 1920s, over half of all cars on the road were Fords. Then the competition started catching up. Chevrolet and others offered more stylish cars. And after that, Ford's customers wanted change. Even Ford's top advisors and his own son told him it was time for a new model. However, Ford still stuck with his decision. For years, he refused to change a thing. He believed in his decision and didn't let outside opinions sway him. Only after several years, when sales dropped, did he finally come out with a different model. Look, you might think Ford was too rigid, refusing to change until competitors eventually beat him in sales. But Hill's point is this: it was his character, his ability to stick to decisions that made him a fortune. For that Model T, over 15 million had been sold. It became the best-selling car of its time, and it made Ford a legend. So the lesson is this: rich people make decisions quickly, and they stick with them. Poor people, they take forever to decide, and then they change their minds at the first sign of pressure. Hill says if you're easily influenced by others after reaching your decision, you will not succeed in turning your desire into money. Let's say you decide to build a mobile app where others have to pay every month to use it. Then you see someone making hundreds of thousands selling online courses, and suddenly you're tempted to switch. Don't just get influenced by that. Make your decision, stick to it, and give it the time it needs to pay off. Principle 8, persistence. Never give up easily. You've probably seen this image before: a man digging for diamonds. He's just a few feet away, but he gives up and walks off, while someone else, right above him, keeps digging and is about to hit the jackpot. Now, that picture actually comes from a true story. A man named Darby and his uncle found signs of gold. So they packed their gear, took the train to a mine in another state, and started digging with shovels. After weeks of labor, yes, they discovered some gold. When they sent it to be processed, they found out it was from one of the richest mines. So they knew they were on track to make millions, but they needed better equipment. So here's what happened next. They went back home, raised money from relatives and neighbors, bought the drilling machine, and returned to the mine. Now, as they drilled down with the new machine, something happened. The gold sign suddenly disappeared. They had been following that sign when they first dug, but now they couldn't find it. They kept drilling, but still nothing, and finally, they decided to quit. They sold the machine to a junk man for a few $100 and took the train home. And here's what happened after that. This junk man hired an engineer to look at the mine. Turns out the gold vein was just 3 feet from where they stopped drilling. The junk man continued the drilling, and finally it was him who became a millionaire. But the story doesn't stop there. Since it was the junk man who became a millionaire from that gold mine, Darby never forgot the lesson it taught him. Later in life, he became a top life insurance salesman. Why? Because he made himself a promise. I stopped 3 feet from gold, but I will never stop just because people say no when I ask them to buy insurance. And that mindset helped his team sell over $1 million of insurance every year. Look, most people stop digging too early. They face rejection, resistance, or doubt, and think they're off track. Just keep going and be persistent. You might just be 3 feet away from your breakthrough. Principle number 9, Mastermind. Work with like-minded people. Henry Ford was not only uneducated, but he was also poor. But within 10 years, he overcame these two problems, and within 25 years, he became one of America's richest men. So what was his biggest secret? He surrounded himself with smart and rich people. His rapid improvement started when he became friends with Thomas Edison. And then he became close with 3 other brilliant innovators. Hill says when you hang around smart, successful people, you basically absorb their minds. Hill also explains that when a group of people get together with the same purpose, this will increase energy. This energy will become available to every individual brain in the group. So that's the mastermind principle. It's basically saying that your personal growth accelerates when you're part of a group of high achieving people who support each other. So choose who you want to hang out and spend time with. And if there are no smart people around you, you can choose 2 to 3 people to follow online. Spend time with them by watching their videos, like their interviews or lectures. After a while, you'll notice you're starting to think and act just like them. Principle number 10, sex transmutation. Channel your energy. Let me show you how this works with a simple picture. Imagine you're on a flight and it's about to take off. While still on the ground, you look out that window. You can see the airport, but not what's behind that. That's how your mind works at a low level. You can only see what's in front of you, mostly your problems, bills, work, stress, and you can't see beyond them. But once the plane takes off, suddenly you can see everything from above. Everything surrounding the airport, the buildings, the hills, the beach. That's what happens when your mind rises to a higher level. You're no longer stuck with the problems in front of you because now you can see the bigger picture. This is where you get your best ideas, flashes of inspiration, sudden hunches, creative solutions. Now, in order to go to that higher level, Hill gives one important secret, which is sex transmutation. A study of 30,000 salesmen found that the most successful ones had high sexual energy. This energy gave them personal magnetism. You could see it in their presence, hear it in their voice. It helps them better influence people. And here's the key. Those great people who can take their mind off sex and put that energy into their work with passion, they're already practicing sex transmutation, even if they don't realize it. Hill says all highly successful people in history had strong sexual energy. But here's the thing. Just having a strong desire doesn't make you powerful. You have to channel it. When that desire kicks in, don't waste it. Pour it into work that demands creativity, passion, and focus, not random busy work like filling out tax forms. And here's more. Hill notices many great men in history were largely inspired by the women they loved. So, when you combine sexual energy with love, like being in love with someone you can be intimate with, it can lift you to a higher plane and help you rise beyond your current problems. If you think you have loved and lost, don't worry. Hill says even the memories of love are sufficient to lift one to a higher plane and help you rise above your challenges. Principle number 11, the subconscious mind. Think about a time in your life when you prayed for something and got it. What was it? And how did you feel when you prayed? Chances are you prayed with strong faith, truly believing you'd receive it, right? Look, Hill says our subconscious mind is the one that connects us to the infinite intelligence, God, superior power, whatever you call it. However, we can't fully control our subconscious mind, but we can hand over to it any plan or desire. Remember Hill's bedtime stories for his son? He planted the positive seed into his son's subconscious mind to believe that one day he could hear. And he strongly believed that one day it could happen. That belief is faith. It's a positive emotion. Now here's the thing. When you don't plant the positive, the negative will dominate. For example, Hill noticed that many people only pray when everything else has failed. And when they do, their prayers are filled with fear and doubt. What if this doesn't work? What if God doesn't answer me? See how this negativity can take over when you don't plant the positive? So you have to constantly feed your mind with positive emotions. When you do this consistently, your subconscious mind becomes a clear connection to the superior intelligence. And that's when ideas and plans start flowing to you. Now, when Hill says positive emotions, he's not just talking about having faith, like believe in what you want. He also lists out powerful emotions that can act as a fuel to strengthen your subconscious. These 7 positive emotions are the emotion of desire, the emotion of faith, the emotion of love, the emotion of sex, the emotion of enthusiasm, the emotion of romance, and the emotion of hope. And if you don't plant these positive emotions, the negative emotions will take over. They are fear, jealousy, hatred, revenge, greed, superstition, and anger. Principle number 12, the brain, broadcasting and receiving ideas. Imagine it's the 1950s. A family gathers around a radio, listening to a football game. The announcer at the stadium shouts, "Goal!" and everyone at home cheers. And here's what's happening behind the scenes. At the stadium, a reporter speaks into a mic. That sound turns into invisible waves, travels to a broadcasting tower, and the tower sends those waves out to radios at home. At home, the family simply turns the dial to the right station, let's say 101.3 FM, and instantly the announcer's voice comes through loud and clear through the radio. Now, Hill says our brain works the same like this broadcast tower. It can send thoughts and it can receive ideas. And here's where most people mess up. Imagine some people at home can't hear the game even though it's being broadcast. Why? Because they keep changing the channel. This is similar to people who keep changing their goal. One day their goal is to earn $50K from their digital marketing agency. The next they see a YouTuber making money and think maybe I'll try that instead. In the radio example, it's like continuing to change the channel and not staying at 101.3 FM. You miss the game even though it's being broadcast. When you choose one clear goal and stick to it, your brain starts tuning in. Suddenly you notice the right book, the right client, the right opportunity. It's like listening to the game from start to finish without touching the dial. You keep receiving every update. And here's more. Remember the 7 positive emotions in the previous principle? Those emotions can boost your signal. It's like turning the radio volume up. You can hear the ideas and the opportunities coming through clearly. So, here's what to do. 1. Be crystal clear about what you want. 2. Repeat it daily with positive feelings. 3. Stick with your goal. Just like that, the signal is always there, meaning the ideas are out there. You just need to stick with your one goal to hear them. Principle number 13, the 6th sense. Trust your instincts. Hill mentions that one of America's most successful financiers had an interesting habit. He'd close his eyes for 2 to 3 minutes before making any major decision. Why? Because he was waiting for inspiration, that sudden flash of knowing what to do. Hill calls this the 6th sense. It's part of your subconscious mind that acts like a receiver, picking up ideas and insights. You've probably experienced this too, an idea suddenly popping into your head, like send the email to that person, create that new content, or you see an image in your head for a design idea. That's your 6th sense at work. These insights usually come when your mind is calm and quiet, which is why that financier closed his eyes. Practicing meditation also helps silence your mind, making it easier to receive these flashes of inspiration. You can't force it, but when it shows up, listen to it. Hill says the 6th sense becomes stronger after you've mastered the previous principles: desire, faith, planning, persistence, all of it. All right, let's do a quick recap of these 13 principles. Number 1, desire. Be crystal clear about what you want. Like Barnes was clear, he wanted to be Edison's partner. Number 2, faith. Believe you can achieve it, like Hill believed his son would hear and speak. Number 3, autosuggestion. Feed your subconscious daily, like Hill's bedtime stories planted belief in his son's mind. Read your written statement twice daily with emotion, not just simply read it. Number 4, specialized knowledge. Learn the specialized knowledge you need for your goal, like Henry Ford focused only on the knowledge for his car business. Number 5, imagination. Imagine people using your product, or your clients say thanks to you, or more money flowing into your bank account. Number 6, organized planning. Make a plan, like Dr. Gonzalez finally planned to give a lecture about his college. Don't just wish and do nothing about it. Number 7, decision. Rich people make decisions quickly, and if they change them, they do it slowly, like Ford with his Model T car. Poor people make decisions slowly and change it quickly. Number 8, persistence. Never give up easily, like Darby and his uncle, who quit just 3 feet from gold. You might be just 3 feet from your breakthrough. Number 9, mastermind. Surround yourself with smart people, like Ford became friends with Edison, and other brilliant innovators. You absorb the minds of the people you hang out with most. Number 10, sex transmutation. Channel your desire into creative work. Number 11, subconscious mind. Feed your mind with positive emotions so that negative emotions can't take over. Pray with faith, not fear. Number 12, the brain. Your brain broadcasts and receives ideas. So make sure you're clear with what you want and stick with it so that you will receive the right idea. Number 13, sixth sense. Trust your hunches. When ideas come, act on them. Practice silencing your mind because your mind receives ideas easily when it's silenced. So, out of these 13 principles, I believe the most difficult one is persistence. Just like Darby and his uncle who gave up 3 feet from gold. It's not easy to keep going when you don't see that your efforts are paying off. So, if you want to learn how to keep going, then check out this video. It's a summary of the book, The Compound Effect. This book will give you the right mindset to keep going for years and not give up easily. Thanks for watching.